Welcome to the Wit Factor. We're Jemmy and Di,
And,
exploring a new blog post by Mr. Len Kaplan,
okay.
CEO of CDML and MSP in Queens, NY,
Yeah.
offering network management,
Right.
VoIP and UCAS, cybersecurity, compliance, IaaS,
Yeah.
cloud,
Yeah.
and Microsoft 365 and Azure. If you're a small business owner or manage IT
Right.
for a growing organization, this episode is for you. Stay tuned.
Glad to be here.
So you know how sometimes cybersecurity
Yeah.
feels like something only those massive companies have to worry about?
Yeah.
Well, this blog post, Why Cyber Policies Belong in Your Employee Handbook, argues that it's crucial for businesses of all sizes,
Yeah.
especially in today's world where everything's connected.
It's true.
So-
Cyber attacks are becoming more and more common,
Right.
and they can be devastating for small businesses.
Uh-huh.
The blog post really emphasizes the human element.
Okay.
Employees are often the first line of defense,
Right.
even more so than any fancy software.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So the post specifically talks about putting cyber policies
Yes.
and data governance guidelines
Okay.
right in the employee handbook.
Right.
What makes that so important?
Think of it as setting clear expectations from the start.
Okay.
When everyone knows the rules and procedures,
Uh-huh.
you create a more consistent and secure environment.
Right.
This not only helps protect your business from cyber attacks,
Okay.
but it can also help you comply with industry regulations.
So it's not just about avoiding hackers.
Right.
It's about staying on the right side of the law, too.
Precisely.
Okay.
Plus, outlining clear consequences for policy violations
Uh-huh.
can be a really strong motivator for employees to follow the rules.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, sometimes people need a little extra encouragement to take cybersecurity seriously.
Right. For sure.
Absolutely.
The blog post dives into some specific benefits of integrating cybersecurity policies into the employee handbook.
Right.
The first one that jumped out at me is mitigating risks.
Right. And this is where things get interesting.
Okay.
A lot of data breaches happen because of simple human error.
Uh-huh.
Someone clicking a phishing link
Right.
or accidentally downloading malware.
Yeah.
By having clear policies in place,
Oh.
you're giving employees the tools they need to make smart decisions
Right.
and avoid those common pitfalls.
It's like giving them a roadmap
Exactly.
for navigating the digital world safely.
Exactly.
And
And it's not just about preventing those everyday mistakes.
Uh-huh.
A well-structured handbook can also help with incident response.
Okay.
If a breach does happen,
Right.
everyone knows who to contact,
Okay.
what steps to take,
Uh-huh.
and how to minimize the damage.
Right.
It can be the difference between a minor inconvenience
Oh.
and a full-blown crisis.
Yeah. That's a huge difference.
Absolutely.
The blog also mentions improved incident response as a benefit.
Think of it like a fire drill for your
Oh.
digital world.
Okay.
If everyone knows what to do in an emergency,
You can contain the damage and get back on your feet much faster.
So we've covered clarity and consistency,
Right.
legal compliance, risk mitigation,
Uh-huh.
and improved incident response.
Yes.
It sounds like integrating cyber policies into the employee handbook
Yeah.
is a win-win
It
situation.
really is.
Okay.
It's about proactively creating a culture of cybersecurity awareness.
Okay, so we understand why it's important.
Yeah.
But how do you actually do it effectively?
That's the
blog post has some interesting advice
Right.
on that front, too.
One of the first things the blog post highlights
Okay.
is the importance of using clear, simple language.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a legal document meant to intimidate anyone.
Right.
It's a practical guide for your employees.
You want to make sure everyone can understand it,
Exactly.
regardless of their tech skills.
Exactly.
Here.
Avoid jargon,
Uh-huh.
use everyday language,
Right.
and break down complex concepts into easy-to-digest chunks.
If it's too complicated, people will just tune out.
Right.
And that defeats the whole purpose.
And then you've wasted everyone's time.
Exactly.
The post also stresses the importance of tailoring policies
Uh-huh.
to the specific needs and risks of your business.
That's key.
Okay.
What works for a tech startup might not be appropriate for a retail store.
Right.
You need to consider your industry,
Uh-huh.
the types of data you handle,
Yeah.
and the potential threats you face.
Right.
A cookie-cutter approach just won't cut it.
So it's about finding the right balance between being comprehensive
Absolutely.
and being relevant to your specific business.
Absolutely. And that's where a company like CDML can be incredibly helpful.
Uh-huh.
They have experience working with businesses of all sizes
Right.
and across different industries.
Okay.
So they can help you develop policies that are both effective
Huh.
and tailored to your unique needs.
Speaking of CDML,
Yeah.
the blog post highlights their expertise as a managed services provider or an MSP. For those who aren't familiar,
Yeah.
can you quickly explain what an MSP does
Yeah.
and what kind of support they provide to businesses?
An MSP is essentially an outsourced IT department.
Right.
They can handle everything from network management
Mm.
and cybersecurity
Right.
to cloud computing and data backup.
Wow.
They can even provide training for your employees.
Okay.
It's a great option for small businesses
Uh-huh.
that don't have the resources to hire a full-time IT staff.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
CDML is also partnered with some pretty big names in the tech world,
Yes.
like Dell, Microsoft, QuickBooks, SonicWall, and HP Aruba.
Yes, and those partnerships are important
Okay.
because they give CDML access to cutting-edge technology and expertise. That means they can offer a wider range of services
Right.
and stay ahead of the curve when it comes to cybersecurity threats.
So they're like your one-stop shop for all things IT.
Pretty much. And they have a proven track record of helping businesses like yours
Yeah.
stay secure and compliant.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part.
We have.
We've talked about why cybersecurity is important for businesses of all sizes,
Yeah.
the benefits of integrating cyber policies into employee handbooks, and how companies like CDML can help you navigate this complex landscape.
It is a complex landscape,
Yeah.
but they can definitely help.
We'll be back in part 2 to dive deeper into some of the actionable steps
Okay.
you can take to strengthen your cybersecurity posture
Right.
and create a more resilient digital future.
Sounds good.
But before we go,
Yeah.
take a moment to think about your own business. How do you approach cybersecurity?
Yeah.
Do you have clear policies in place?
Good questions.
Is your employee handbook up to date?
Yeah.
Food for thought.
Food for thought. Welcome back to the It Factor. We've been unpacking Lynn Kaplan's insights on integrating cyber policies into your employee handbook. We talked about the why in part 1,
Right.
but now let's get to the real-world impact.
Right, because at the end of the day, it's all about protecting your business.
Exactly.
So what happens when these policies are actually put into practice?
One of the most significant impacts is the shift in mindset.
Okay.
When cybersecurity is embedded in your company culture, it's no longer just an IT issue.
Right.
It becomes everyone's responsibility.
Okay.
And that's a really powerful thing.
The blog post mentions that CDML has a specific training program
Yes.
called CyberSafe Basics that they use with their clients.
Oh, wait.
Can you tell us more about that?
Absolutely. CyberSafe Basics focuses on practical skills.
Okay.
It teaches employees how to spot phishing emails,
Uh-huh.
create strong passwords,
Okay.
and recognize suspicious activity.
Yeah.
You know, things that they're going to encounter in their day-to-day work.
Right.
CDML found that after implementing this training, their
Well-
clients saw a 70% reduction in successful phishing attacks.
Wow, that's a huge improvement.
It is.
It really shows the value of investing in employee training.
It's one of the most effective ways to reduce risk.
Uh-huh.
And it's not just about one-time training.
Right.
CDML recommends ongoing refreshers
Okay.
to keep cybersecurity top of mind
Yeah.
and address new threats as they emerge.
So it's about creating a culture of continuous learning and improvement.
Exactly. And another crucial aspect is communication.
Okay.
The blog post emphasizes the need for clear, consistent messaging about cybersecurity policies.
How can businesses ensure their employees are actually paying attention to these policies,
Right.
especially if they're integrated into a lengthy handbook?
That's a good question.
Yeah?
CDML suggests breaking down the information
Okay.
into smaller, more digestible chunks.
Mm-hmm.
For example, instead of having one massive section on cybersecurity,
All right.
you could integrate shorter policies
Right.
into relevant sections of the handbook.
So if you're talking about using company email, that's the place to include the email security policy.
Exactly. It makes it more relevant and easier to remember.
Right.
And don't be afraid to get creative.
Okay.
CDML has had success with clients who use short videos,
Right.
quizzes, and even interactive games to make cybersecurity training more engaging.
Yeah. That's a great way to keep people interested
Yeah,
and make sure the information sticks.
for sure. The blog also talks about the importance of feedback.
Okay. How does that fit into the equation?
Feedback is crucial for making sure the policies are actually working.
Okay.
It allows employees to voice concerns,
Huh.
point out areas that are confusing,
Right.
and suggest improvements.
But some small business owners might be hesitant to open that door.
Yeah,
They might worry about being bombarded with complaints or suggestions.
I understand that concern.
Yeah.
But CDML's approach is about creating a two-way dialogue.
Uh-huh.
It's about showing employees that their input is valued
Huh?
and that you're committed to creating a secure and supportive work environment.
So it's not just about dictating rules.
Right.
It's about collaborating with employees
Exactly.
to create a cybersecurity strategy that works for everyone.
Precisely. And that collaborative approach can also help foster a sense of ownership and accountability.
Uh-huh.
When employees feel like they're part of the solution,
Right.
they're more likely to take cybersecurity seriously.
What are some specific ways CDML helps their clients gather feedback
Yeah.
on cybersecurity policies?
They recommend a multi-pronged approach.
Okay.
This could include anonymous surveys,
Uh-huh.
regular check-in meetings,
Yes.
or even a dedicated online forum
Right.
where employees can ask questions and share suggestions.
It sounds like it's all about creating multiple channels for communication.
Yes, and it's important to choose methods that work for your company culture
Uh-huh.
and the size of your team.
Right.
For smaller business, informal conversations might be enough,
Yeah.
but a larger company might benefit from a more structured approach.
Okay, that makes sense. The blog post also touches on the importance of leadership buy-in.
Yes.
Why is that so crucial for creating a strong cybersecurity culture?
When leadership prioritizes cybersecurity and sets a good example,
Uh-huh.
it sends a powerful message to the rest of the organization.
Okay.
It shows that it's not just something we talk about.
Right.
It's something we live by.
Actions speak louder than words, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're asking employees to change their behavior,
Yeah.
you need to lead by example.
Right.
This could involve participating in cybersecurity training,
Huh?
using strong passwords,
Yeah.
and being cautious about phishing emails.
It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Exactly. And it's not just about the CEO or the IT manager. It's about every leader in the organization setting the right tone
Okay.
and demonstrating a commitment to cybersecurity.
So it's about creating a culture of cybersecurity from the top down.
Yes, it's about making cybersecurity part of the DNA of your organization.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this second part. We've talked about the importance of employee training,
Right.
clear communication, feedback mechanisms,
Mhm.
and leadership buy-in.
Yes.
We've also explored some of the ways CDML helps its clients
Yeah.
put these principles into practice,
Right.
creating a more secure and resilient digital environment.
For sure.
In the final part, we'll shift gears
Okay.
and focus on practical steps that small business owners can take today
Right.
to strengthen their cybersecurity posture.
Okay.
We'll have some actionable advice that you can implement right away.
Sounds good.
So stay tuned. Welcome back to the IT Factor. We've explored why integrating cyber policies into your employee handbook is crucial and how it plays out in the real world. Now let's get practical. What can small business owners actually do today to boost their cybersecurity?
Great question. Cybersecurity can seem daunting, especially for those juggling a million other things, but the blog highlights that you don't need a huge budget or a dedicated IT team to make a difference.
That's reassuring to hear. So where should we begin?
The blog post emphasizes that one of the most fundamental steps is enabling multi-factor authentication, or MFA, wherever possible.
Okay, for those who aren't tech savvy, what exactly is MFA?
Think of it as adding an extra layer of security to your accounts instead of just relying on a password. MFA requires you to provide another piece of information like a code sent to your phone or a fingerprint scan.
So even if a hacker steals your password, they can't get into your account without that second factor.
Exactly. It makes it significantly harder for unauthorized access. And the great thing is that most online services offer MFA nowadays, from email providers to social media platforms to banking apps.
So it's not just for super secret government stuff anymore.
Not at all. It's becoming a standard security practice for businesses of all sizes.
Okay, MFA is at the top of our to-do list. What else should we be thinking about?
The next step is to make sure your software is always up to date. Updates often include security patches that fix vulnerabilities hackers could exploit.
This sounds like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't everyone do this?
You'd be surprised how many people put off updates, either because they're busy or because they worry about potential compatibility issues. But CDML emphasizes that delaying updates is like Leaving your front door unlocked, you're practically inviting trouble.
So set those reminders, make it a priority, and get those updates installed. What else is on our cybersecurity checklist?
Next up is data backup. Think of it as your insurance policy in case disaster strikes, whether it's a cyber attack, a hardware failure, or even a natural disaster.
Backups are something I've definitely been meaning to get better at, but honestly, it feels a bit overwhelming. Where do you even start?
The blog post suggests following the 3-2-1 rule, 3 copies of your data on 2 different types of media with 1 copy offsite. This could mean using an external hard drive and a cloud backup service.
So if one backup fails, you have multiple backups to fall back on.
Exactly, and CDML emphasizes the importance of testing your backups regularly to make sure they're actually working. There's nothing worse than thinking you're protected only to find out your backup has been corrupted or isn't accessible when you need it.
Testing backups, got it. Anything else we should be doing?
The blog also highlights the need to be cautious about phishing emails. Those are emails designed to trick you into giving away sensitive information like passwords or credit card numbers.
Oh, yeah. Those are tricky. And they look so real.
Right. That's why it's important to scrutinize any email that asks for personal information, even if it seems to be from a trusted source. Hover over the sender's email address to check if it's legitimate and be wary of any links or attachments you weren't expecting.
I'm definitely guilty of clicking links without thinking twice sometimes. So a healthy dose of skepticism is key when it comes to email.
Absolutely. And it's always a good idea to contact the sender directly through a known phone number or email address to verify the legitimacy of any suspicious requests.
That makes sense. So we've covered MFA, software updates, backups, and phishing emails. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners?
The blog emphasizes that even with all these measures in place, no system is 100% foolproof. That's why it's important to have an incident response plan.
Okay. What exactly does that involve?
It's a document that outlines what to do if a breach does occur. It includes contact information for key personnel, steps to contain the damage, and procedures for notifying affected parties. Think of it as a playbook for managing a cybersecurity emergency.
It sounds like having that plan in place can make a world of difference in minimizing the impact of a breach.
It really can. It helps you move quickly and decisively, which is crucial in those situations.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from understanding why cyber policies belong in employee handbooks to practical steps for strengthening cybersecurity. We've explored a lot.
And we've seen how a company like CDML can be a valuable partner in this journey.
Absolutely. Their expertise and support can help small businesses create a more secure and resilient digital environment.
So listeners, if you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure where to start, remember you don't have to go it alone. Reach out to the experts and get the guidance you need.
Great advice. Thanks for joining us today.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to The It Factor. Remember, cybersecurity is an ongoing journey, but by taking small steps today, you can make a big difference in protecting your business and building a more resilient future.